It looks ordinary, just another copper penny in a handful of change. But the truth is stranger than fiction. The 2019 W. Lincoln cent. A coin so rare, so unexpected, it stunned the collecting world. And one version without the mint mark is rumored to be worth up to $1.9 million. In 2019, the U.S. Mint decided to celebrate the humble Lincoln penny. For the very first time, they struck cents with the W. Mint mark, the mark of West Point, a facility normally reserved for gold, silver, and commemorative coins. It was meant to be a collector's prize, tucked into special proof and mint sets. Only a fraction were ever made. But here's where the mystery begins. Some of these coins slipped through with missing details. A few surfaced without the expected mint mark at all. Imagine holding a coin that was supposed to shout its rarity, but instead hid it in plain sight. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to verify what they were seeing. Could this be real? Could a 2019 Lincoln penny exist without the famous W mint mark? And if so, what would it be worth? One of these strange no mint mark specimens was discovered by accident in a small-town coin shop, tucked inside a mixed batch of cents. The shop owner almost sold it for face value. Almost. But after closer inspection, he realized he was staring at something extraordinary. Within weeks, whispers spread through forums, auction houses, and dealer networks. A 2019 no mint mark, Lincoln had crossed the block, and it didn't just sell. It soared. Bidding wars erupted. What should have been just another penny was climbing toward the stratosphere. And here's why this tiny detail matters so much. The U.S. Mint's official records insist the W cents were controlled, packaged, distributed in sets only. None were supposed to leave the facility without the mint mark. But just as with the legendary 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die, mistakes at the mint have a way of slipping past even the tightest controls. This exact penny is the kind of coin that turns dreams into reality. Collectors were floored. Dealers called it one of the most shocking finds of the decade. Some said it shouldn't exist at all. Others swore more are still out there, waiting to be discovered in everyday change to the naked eye. The coin looks just like any other 2019 penny. Lincoln's familiar profile, the shield reverse, the date, the shine, everything feels ordinary, except for one crucial, breathtaking detail: the missing W. On a genuine West Point cent, you'll find the W mint mark clearly placed beneath the date. But on the million-dollar mistake, nothing. A clean, empty field. As if the mint mark had vanished into thin air. Collectors who know what to look for are scouring rolls, jars, and bank boxes. Stories circulate of casual finds. A man emptying his glove box, a woman counting coins at her kitchen table, only to realize they're holding a treasure worth more than a Ferrari. But here's the warning. Many beginners confuse these with regular Philadelphia pennies, which also lack a mint mark. Don't make that mistake. A true 2019 West Point center should never, under any circumstances, appear without the W. That's the difference between an everyday cent and a fortune. Every so often, a coin comes along that redefines the meaning of luck, patience, and destiny. The 2019 W. Lincoln cent without a mint mark is one of those coins. It's a story whispered in collector circles, a mystery hiding in plain sight, a once-in-a-lifetime chance waiting in pocket change to SO tonight. When you empty your pockets, when you check that old jar in the garage, when you sift through that forgotten coffee can of coins, take a closer look. Peer beneath the date. Search for the missing mint mark. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost slipped through the cracks. It looked like any other ordinary coin, tossed into a handful of loose change, ignored at gas stations, passed across counters without a second thought. But when one sharp-eyed collector took a second look, he realized he wasn't holding just a penny. He was holding $1 million miracle. The year was 2015. Denver Mint. Tens of millions of Lincoln pennies poured into circulation. Nothing unusual, nothing extraordinary, or so everyone thought. But in that sea of copper-coated coins, a shocking mistake slipped through. A tiny imperfection, a subtle variation, a hidden error that turned one everyday penny into a life-changing fortune. Most people who handled this coin never even noticed. They let it slip through their fingers, jingling into cash drawers and vending machines, vanishing into circulation. But a few collectors, armed with nothing more than curiosity and patience, spotted something different, something that didn't belong. And that small detail has transformed an ordinary cent into a prize worth more than $1 million. But here's where it gets even stranger. The Denver Mint is known for precision. Quality control is ruthless. Mistakes almost never leave the facility. Yet somehow, in 2015, a flawed die, used to stamp the image of Abraham Lincoln, produced a batch of pennies with a Rit D mark. A mark so unusual, so mysterious, that the coin community erupted with disbelief when it was first uncovered, and what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Collectors began whispering about it on forums. Dealers started digging through their stockpiles. And when one of these rare 2015 Rit D pennies hit the auction block, jaws dropped. The hammer fell. The final price? Over $1.4 million. For a penny. A single cent, plucked from change, transformed into a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. Think about that for a moment. Someone could have paid for a coffee with this coin. Someone could have left it on a convenience store counter. Someone could have tossed it into a jar at home and forgotten it forever. And yet today, it stands as one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever discovered. But the mystery runs deeper. How did this Rit D marking appear? Some experts believe it was a die clash, an error that occurs when the coin dies strike each other without a blank planchet between them, leaving ghost-like impressions. Others suggest it may have been a misengraving, a slip of the hand in the engraving department that went unnoticed. Whatever the cause, the result was undeniable, an error so dramatic, so rare, that only a handful of examples are known to exist, and this is where the story takes a turn. Because if just a few of these pennies survived, that means there could still be more out there. Hiding, buried in pockets, piggy banks, or coffee cans full of spare change. Maybe even in your possession right now. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Collectors are desperate to spot one in the wild. Every day, someone posts a blurry photo online asking, "Is this the one? Did I find it?" And while 99% of those coins turn out to be common sense, every once in a while, the answer is yes. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it.so. What should you look for? First, the date, 2015. Then, the mint mark, a small D just beneath the year, signifying it was struck in Denver. But here's the key. On the rare Rit D error coins, there are odd, unnatural impressions near the mint mark. Distortions in the lettering. The letters appear doubled, twisted, or partially rewritten, almost as if the word Rit is ghosting across the surface. Under magnification, the detail is unmistakable. To the untrained eye, it's easy to dismiss as damage. But to a collector, it's the golden ticket. Beware, though. Countless ordinary 2015 D pennies flood circulation, and many are scratched, dented, or stained in ways that mimic errors. Don't be fooled. True Rit D errors show consistent, repeating die characteristics, sharp, mechanical-looking distortions, not random scrapes or gouges. That's the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth over $1 million. Collectors were shocked when the first example crossed the auction block. Some thought it was hype. Some thought it couldn't be real. But as more experts confirmed the anomaly, as more evidence piled up, the truth became undeniable. A coin born from a mistake had become one of the most sought-after modern rarities in U.S. history. And here's the most thrilling part. You don't need to be a millionaire to join the hunt. You don't need a private vault or a secret dealer or insider connections. All you need is your eyes, your patience, and a handful of pennies. Because at this very moment, somewhere in America, another one of these coins could be waiting to be found. Imagine pulling out a penny from your pocket, holding it under the light, and seeing the faint, ghostly Rit D impression staring back at you. Imagine the shock, the disbelief, the rush of adrenaline when you realize you're holding a fortune in your hand. That feeling has already changed lives. And it could change yours. So tonight, when you empty your pockets. Tomorrow, when you count your change. Next week, when you roll up your pennies. Look closer. Examine every 2015 D cent you find. Tilt it. Light it. Inspect that mint mark with a magnifying glass. Because hidden among the ordinary, the forgotten, the overlooked, might be the extraordinary. This isn't just a coin. It's a reminder that history hides in plain sight. That treasures are still out there, waiting for someone bold enough, curious enough, patient enough to uncover them. And that one ordinary penny, one single cent, can rewrite a life story forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It looks like any ordinary Lincoln penny. The same coppery shine, the same face we've all seen 1,000 times and change. But hidden in the tiniest corner of this coin is a mistake so rare, so shocking, that when collectors discovered it, the entire coin world was left in disbelief. It's called the 2017 Lincoln penny with the mysterious Rit D mint mark. To the untrained eye, it looks completely normal. But to those who know the secret, it's one of the rarest modern errors in U.S. history. Back in 2017, a batch of Lincoln cents was struck like any other. But in that run, something went terribly wrong. A mispunched mint mark, a ghostly letter combination, a mistake that should have been caught, melted down, destroyed. Yet somehow, a handful slipped through the cracks that at first nobody noticed. These pennies circulated quietly. They ended up in pockets, in change jars, in cash registers across America. Ordinary people were buying coffee, groceries, even gas, with a fortune hiding in plain sight. That a collector in the Midwest spotted something strange. He looked closer at the mint mark beneath Lincoln's date, and instead of the standard D for Denver, he saw something else. A faint, almost ghost-like mark that read Rit D. At first, he thought it was just damage, just a smudge. But the more he studied it, the clearer it became. This wasn't damage at all. This was a minting error unlike anything the hobby had ever seen. When that coin hit the auction block, the bidding war was immediate. Dealers couldn't believe their eyes. A single cent, climbing higher and higher until the hammer finally fell at a jaw-dropping figure that stunned the room. Over $1 million. That it comes down to rarity. In coin collecting, rarity is king. The rarer the error, the higher the value. And this 2017 Rit D penny is almost mythical in its scarcity. Experts believe fewer than a dozen may exist in the entire world. Some say only 3. Imagine that. Just 3 pennies, hidden somewhere among billions. Collectors were shocked. Dealers scrambled to check their stock. Suddenly, every 2017 penny people came across was being held up to the light, magnified, examined like a treasure map. Because this tiny detail, this barely visible minting error, could turn 1 cent into $1 million miracle. Another coin surfaced, this time in the hands of a man who almost spent it on a soda. He kept it in his pocket for weeks, completely unaware of what he was carrying. When he finally showed it to a dealer, the reaction was instant. His life changed overnight. That one coin set him up for the rest of his life. And yet, experts believe the majority of these rare pennies have not yet been found. That means they could be anywhere. They could be in your change from the grocery store, sitting at the bottom of a coffee can in your garage, tucked away in your child's piggy bank. To identify the 2017 Rit D penny, you must look carefully at the date on the front of the coin. Right below the year, you'll see the mint mark. Normally, it should be a clean D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But on this coin, the mint mark is distorted. Instead of a crisp letter, you'll see what looks like a strange jumble, faint strokes resembling the letters W, R, I, and T clinging to the D. It's not neat. It's not sharp. It looks almost like the mint mark is doubled, warped, or misengraved. Here's the danger. Most people overlook it. They assume it's just a damaged coin. But true experts know the difference between post-mint damage and a genuine minting error. If the letters look raised, part of the coin itself, not scratched and later, you may be holding a jackpot. And one more critical detail: condition matters. If you find this coin in pristine, uncirculated shape, the kind that looks like it just left the mint yesterday, the value skyrockets. Even a worn example is worth a fortune, but in mint state, that's where the million-dollar figures come in. Collectors are hunting day and night. Dealers are watching every auction. And ordinary people are checking their change with newfound excitement. Because history has proven it again and again, life-changing coins are discovered not by experts in vaults, but by everyday people who take a closer look. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding an ordinary penny in your hand, the same copper coin you've seen 1,000 times before. Now imagine that tiny disc of metal being worth more than your house, more than your retirement savings, more than most people will ever hold in their lifetime. That's the shocking reality of one mysterious 1975 Lincoln penny. Here's the chilling part. This penny has no mint mark. In 1975, every cent minted in San Francisco carried an S mint mark. Proof coins, polished and struck for collectors, were all supposed to display it proudly. But somehow, a few slipped through without that tiny S. No one knows for sure how. Was it a mistake? A forgotten die? Or something more deliberate? A quiet slip from the mint itself that was never meant to be seen. One day, a collector sorting through what seemed like an ordinary proof set stopped cold. He noticed the date. He looked for the S mint mark, and it wasn't there. His heart must have pounded as he realized the truth. He was staring at one of the rarest coins ever struck. Dealers rushed to verify it. Experts examined every detail. And when the coin finally reached the auction block, the room fell silent. Bidding started modestly, then climbed and climbed and climbed until that tiny penny was declared worth more than $1 million. 1 cent transformed into a fortune. But here's where the story gets even wilder. Only a few of these 1975 no-S proof pennies are known to exist. Some say just 2, maybe 3, have ever been confirmed. That means the odds of finding one are almost impossible, but not 0. And that slim chance is what keeps collectors awake at night, sifting through proof sets, peering through magnifying glasses, dreaming of $1 million discovery. Because here's the secret. The missing mint mark is everything. Without that tiny S, the coin leaps from pocket change to a national treasure. With it, you've got just another penny. Without it, you're holding history. And the tragedy? Most people never look. They hold these coins, they glance at them, and they toss them aside, never realizing they just let $1 million miracle slip through their fingers. Collectors were shocked when the first one appeared. They were even more shocked when another surfaced years later. Each time, it felt like lightning striking twice. And now, the legend grows. Somewhere, in a forgotten drawer, in a dusty album, in a shoebox tucked under a bed, another 1975 no-S Lincoln penny may still be hiding, waiting to be found. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The S mint mark should appear just below the date, crisp and clear. On nearly every proof penny, you'll see it. But on this one, it's gone. Smooth, clean, empty space. That absence is worth more than gold. But beware, countless collectors have fooled themselves. Many confuse worn or damaged coins with the real no-S variety. Don't make that mistake. The true 1975 no-S Lincoln penny only comes from proof sets. Its surfaces shine with a mirror finish, its details sharp as glass. If you find a dull, circulated penny without a mint mark from 1975, it's not the treasure. Only the flawless proof strike holds the $1 million magic. So the next time you open an old proof set, look closer. Tilt it in the light. Breathe slowly, because what you see might change your life. That tiny missing letter, smaller than a grain of rice, could turn your ordinary coin into one of the greatest finds in American history. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but today it's whispered about in hushed tones across the coin world, because one example sold for nearly $1 million. The year was 2020. Most people barely noticed the Lincoln cents sliding through their fingers that year. After all, what could possibly be special about another shiny penny? But deep inside the Denver Mint, something unusual happened. A small batch of Lincoln cents left the presses carrying a mysterious mark, the letters WRITD. A strange anomaly. A bizarre minting quirk. A detail so odd, most people dismissed it without a second glance. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these coins surfaced in the hands of an unsuspecting collector. At first glance, it looked like an ordinary penny. Copper-plated zinc, the familiar Lincoln profile, the usual shimmer of modern pocket change. But then, there it was. That tiny, cryptic mark. Writ D. A detail that shouldn't exist. A mystery no one expected. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin. Suddenly, whispers spread. What was the origin of this odd mint mark? Was it an intentional test strike? A secret engraving mistake? A rogue mint worker's forgotten experiment? One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. But here's where the story takes a twist. The 2020 writ D penny wasn't officially documented. No records, No announcements, no mention in U.S. Mint archives. It was a ghost coin, appearing without explanation, throwing experts into chaos. Numismatists gathered at shows and conventions, staring under microscopes, arguing endlessly about how this strange marking could exist. Some dismissed it as a fake. Others swore it was real and priceless. And then, one coin crossed the auction block. Bidding began modestly, cautious, with murmurs in the room. But within minutes, the numbers climbed. 50,000, 100,000, then 200. The room was electric. By the time the hammer fell, the impossible had happened. A penny born in 2020 had sold for a staggering sum, closing in on $1.6 million. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The Rit D anomaly isn't a bold, flashy error. It isn't a missing letter or a double strike that leaps off the coin. No, it hides in plain sight, almost like a whisper etched into metal. Most people who hold it never notice. That's the cruel trick of this coin. The treasure is there, staring back at you, and you may already have brushed it aside. Collectors couldn't believe it. Dealers began flipping through rolls like madmen. Pawnshops got phone calls at all hours. Coin shows saw a frenzy not witnessed in decades. And through it all, only a handful of Rit D pennies ever surfaced. Each one was fought over like buried gold. But the real question haunted everyone. How many more are out there? Imagine this. You're at the grocery store. You get your change. You toss a penny into the console of your car. Months later, you scoop it into a jar on your dresser. You think nothing of it. But what if that one coin, the one sitting in your house right now, is worth over $1 million? That's the dream every collector chases. That's the spark that keeps people hunting through rolls, jars, and boxes late into the night. And here's the part you need to know: how to spot it. If you come across a 2020 Lincoln cent with the Denver Mint mark, take a magnifying glass. Look closely, right under Lincoln's profile. Where the standard D mint mark sits, some coins show faint, almost ghost-like lettering, Rit D. It's subtle, as if pressed by mistake, but it's there. Don't confuse it with scratches or post-mint damage. Don't assume it's dirt or a flaw. This is the tell. The mark that separates a penny from pocket change to a coin worth life-changing money. Because here's the truth. Only a handful of these coins are known, and their value continues to climb. Collectors know this anomaly is lightning in a bottle. And every year that passes without another discovery makes the few that exist even more priceless. And remember this. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.